like to call up Janine Hutner to offer us some words of welcome and announcements.
I'm Janine, representing the Board of Trustees, and I would like to welcome you tonight to the temple. The beam of flower this evening are in loving memory of husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather Fred Oken from Joanne Oken and family. The Kiddush is in loving memory of Alan Miller from the family of Alan Miller. Mazel Tov, Max Alexander Gray, who will be called to the Torah as bar mitzvah tomorrow. Max is the son of Justin and Eve Gray, brother of Dylan. Congregational read about Israel, a simple guide to the most misunderstood country on earth by Noah Tishby. Join Rabbi Delson with 2 opportunities being scheduled. The first is on February 6th at 2 p.m. via Zoom, which will be furnished with your registration. On February 7th at 7 p.m., it's in person only. RSVP to Rabbi Delson. You will find the above information in the February bulletin. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Everyone is welcome to the book club, either on Tuesday or Wednesday, whether you have read the book or not. We're going to be looking at some of the quotes in the book and discussing it. So if you are interested but haven't read the book or don't have the book, you can still participate. Just let me know. We have a good group coming out for both of them, either Zoom or in person. So in the aftermath of October 7th, there is no question that the world feels different. We have mourned and we have questioned our certainties. Some have been angry, some have been scared, and we have drawn on deep wells of resilience to affirm our Jewish joy and continue the important work that we are doing on behalf of and in solidarity of the more than 110 million forcibly displaced people in the world. Tonight, we are commemorating, I suppose participating in, HIAS's Refugee Shabbat, as you've seen in our pamphlets going for the past month or so. And we are one of many congregations around the country who are marking this Shabbat together, recognizing and raising awareness of the 110 million people currently who are displaced around the world. Shabbat is a moment for organizations and congregations and individuals to reflect and celebrate the impact of HIAS's work, an organization that I have a very strong connection to, not only for the fact that they have encouraged, allowed our family members to come over to this country. Can anyone raise their hand if they know that if HIAS settled their family members who came to the United States? Maybe? Okay. So HIAS is the oldest resettlement organization, and it started as the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, and it was created to help Jewish refugees leaving Europe to come to the United States and settle. And since then, it has grown and changed, and it has offices all over the world, helping everybody and anybody who needs to be resettled for whether they're refugees or asylum seekers or any number of other categories of people. And so HIAS not only does this resettlement on its own, but it partners with other organizations, it does advocacy, and it strengthens the ability for governments around the world to resettle people who need to be resettled. So on Refugee Shabbat, we pause to acknowledge and honor the hard work of pursuing justice and to recommit our resources moving forward. As always, we raise our voices together as a Jewish community to say that we will welcome and protect those seeking safety from violence and persecution. So my sermon a little bit later will be about this. Our readings and music is also related to this idea. And as we have been doing since October 7th, in addition, we are also thinking about one of the hostages who is still in captivity in Gaza, taken by Hamas. And this week we are thinking of this beautiful young woman, Romy Gonen, who is 23. And it says that she is a sweet-natured and funny. She is a talented dancer and choreographer, a medic, and a guide in the Scouts. So we are bringing Romy into our Shabbat service while we are also thinking about all of those others who are displaced around the world. And we also have to celebrate Shabbat, which is what we do every week when we come together, our opportunity to sing and to relax and to be and to pray. So I invite everyone to turn now to page 120 in your prayer books, and I'd like to call up the Gray family, Justin, Eve, Max, and Dylan, to light our Shabbat candles. So you can use this one, pick up the whole thing. Yeah, there you go.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Blessed all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their heart. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitotah v'tzivanu l'chad lekner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you, Gray family. We are excited to celebrate with you tonight and tomorrow. Go ahead and have a seat. So I'm about to say words that you don't have in front of you, just so you're not looking. This is a reading that Hayas has produced for this Shabbat. It says, "We are commanded not to worship idols, not to put anything before God, not the golden calf of easy answers, and not the hewn pillars of our own self-righteousness. The idols that can pull us away from our truest selves are fears and fantasies, worst-case scenarios, and delusions of grandeur. These idols have the power to inhibit our ability to imagine different and better futures, to open our hearts to other people, to trust in our own strength and the strengths of our communities. The idolatry is the most tempting. This idolatry is most tempting when we are sad and scared and angry, or when the world feels overwhelming and we want to give in to despair. It is at these moments that our practices of rest and reflection, gratitude and generosity, justice and joy can remind us of who we truly are and reground us in the work we are here to do. On this Refugee Shabbat, we commit to setting aside our idols. On this Refugee Shabbat, we commit to creating a world of justice. On this Refugee Shabbat, we commit to creating a world of compassion. And on this Refugee Shabbat, We commit to creating a world of welcome. We'll turn now to page 138 as we welcome the Sabbath bride, Shabbat Spirit. Rise and face the doorway as we welcome in the Shabbat Spirit.
Boi v'shalom ateret balav, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala.
Be seated.
Max is going to be assisting us in leading the service tonight. So Max, why don't you come forward now, and he will be leading us in the Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah be'amadi v'ra kirutei ve'amlich machutei v'chayecho u'vyomecho u'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'gala u'bizman kariv ve'imeru Shemei Rabbah Mevorah Le'olam Le'omayach Yitbarach mata, b'nei mata, da'ami rambama, v'imeru, amen.
Please rise for the Baruch. Please be seated. We're looking now at our purple sheet. And this reading, Twilight People, is in place of our Ma'ariv Aravim prayer, or an interpretation of our Ma'ariv Aravim prayer, and it's written by Rabbi Reuben Zellman. As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in between roles, at the intersection of histories, or between place and place. We are crisscrossed paths of memory and destination, streaks of light swirled together. We are neither day nor night. We are both, neither and all. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions. May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight. We cannot always define. We can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight.
Day and night, show us the way, teaching us to number our days. When we rise and when we lie down, Ahavat Olam. Ki'em hayenu
You may be seated. The Haftarah is on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אני מצווך היום על לבבך ושינתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובמך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי כי הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, that there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered at Sinai. We bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Our next song, prayer, is on the back of our purple handout, Hashkivenu, which is ask for God's presence and shelter over us and peace as we lie down tonight, the same peace and shelter that we wish for the entire world.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Be'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Be'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Be'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
We'll turn now to page 162 for Vishamru, our song for Shabbat. But I'm going to wait. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. Page 164, we rise for the Amidah. Lead us? Okay, great. All right, ready?
Adonai
Sefatai tiftachu fi ki tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu b'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanara El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim B'konei Hakol B'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imachot Umevig Ula Livnei V'neihem L'man Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah Tagibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei hakol atarav le'hoshia Mechayim bechesed Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim Somech noflim ver'alfei cholim Umatir asurim Mekayem emunato Lishenei afar Micha mocha ba'al gevurot Umido melech Melech meimid umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Page 173. Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai. Deny us the false Shabbat which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubrics of prayer of yesteryears. Make us know the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 174 would say. Page 178, our prayer for peace, saying, Shalom Rav, may there be a great peace that is brought upon all of us.
Shalom,
We'll now turn in our prayer books to page 371 for the Misha Berach, our prayer for healing. In our community this week, we are thinking of and praying for the healing of Robin Stone and Don Solomon. If there are those you'd like to mention, I would encourage you to do so as my eyes meet yours. Join together.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
May they each find a sense of wholeness and healing very soon. We'll take the next few moments for our own personal prayer. 23 and a half years ago, something happened to me that changed the way that I saw myself in the world. I had just started my freshman year of college at the University of Cincinnati, and I was reconnecting with someone that I met earlier that summer at orientation. My new friend and I were standing in the hallway of our dorm, and she said, "Turn around." I said, thought it was a strange request, but being the person that I am, I turned around like this. I don't know. Turned around, and then I asked the question that anyone would ask, and I said, "Why? Why?" She said that she was taught that Jews have a tail and horns on their head. Now, I had just completed 4 years of high school, being one of 6 Jewish students, and one of them being my brother out of 1,200 kids. And of course, there had been times when I felt left out as a Jewish person. They had flagpole where they did whatever they did, prayed or whatever, and they had overnights at local churches that I also felt left out of, but I knew that wasn't for me. But I had never been singled out in that way, and certainly not by somebody that I was trying to be friends with. In my naivete and a bit of shock, I laughed it off, and I said, "I'm Jewish, but I don't have horns, and neither does anyone else that I know." The story ended well. She was curious about Judaism and admitted to being raised in a very sheltered community in Western Pennsylvania. And we had good conversations over the years, and we actually eventually ended up living together. She was my roommate during senior year. But I will never forget that moment of feeling completely other from my peers with whom I thought I was the same. At the beginning of this week's Torah portion, Yitro, we meet Moses' children. Moses had children. We don't hear a lot about them, but they're in this Torah portion. Their names were Gershom and Eliezer. As we remember, Moses was born to Jewish parents who tried to save him from an Egyptian decree to kill all of the male Jewish children. And they did this by placing him in a basket and sending him down the Nile. None other than Pharaoh's daughter, Pharaoh's daughter found him and raised him in Pharaoh's house as an Egyptian. Later in life, he reclaimed his Jewish identity after seeing an Egyptian beating a Jewish slave. He took revenge and then fled from there. He married a Midianite woman, and they had children. Gershom, Moses' oldest son's name, is explicitly from Hebrew words, ger and sham. And it's even described in the Torah text. We don't have to do any Hebrew translation ourselves. It says, the reason he's named this way, that I was a stranger in a foreign land. Now, often in the Torah, names are given to relate to situations of the parents at that time. In naming Gershom as a stranger in a foreign land, Moses was living out his own feelings of being a stranger. He was, after all, an Israelite among Egyptians and an Egyptian among the Midianites. All of this is highlighted here just before he facilitates the most profound experience of human divine connection in the Bible. Because also in this Torah portion, we receive God's command at Mount Sinai in the form of the 10 Commandments. Following in the path of Moses, Jews have been strangers in many lands over many centuries. This conversation has come up a lot since the war in Israel began with the idea of indigeneity. I know I have to spell it, but I don't know how to say it. Indigeneity. Nope, still not right. Anyway, but the idea that we are indigenous to the land of Israel, and others are claiming that they are also indigenous to the land of Israel, and it's probably all true. A quick Wikipedia search yielded an astonishing number of exiles and expulsions of the Jewish people beginning in the year 732 BCE, when the Assyrian Empire conquered the northern kingdom of Israel and annexed the territories of the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh. Gad, G-A-D, not God. Gad and Manasseh in Gilead. Approximately 120 years later, the Babylonian Empire besieged Jerusalem and exiled those living in the southern kingdom of Judah. They were eventually allowed to return. Then, in 139 BCE, Jews were expelled from Rome under the accusation of aggressive proselytizing. Then, Alexandria, Medina, Mainz in 1012, Morocco, Spain, France, England, Bavaria, Italy, Hungary, Switzerland. Switzerland was in 1392, Portugal, of course. Skipping a few hundred years after cities expelled Jews, we get to the Russian Empire, not with official expulsions, but pogroms that made people leave. And then, of course, all the way up to Germany and Poland and others in World War II. This kept going in the 1980s with the immigration of, Jews leaving the former Soviet Union, as well as Ethiopian Jews. In 2003, the last Jew left Libya. In 2010, the last 2 Jews died in Somalia. In 2021, when the last Jew left Afghanistan, and the population of Jews in Yemen went from 18 to 6 to just 1 left. These were all places where we have not necessarily been strangers, but we were made to become strangers in a new place after our homes became unlawful or untenable. We might ask ourselves, how does this inform our responsibility to other people and communities who we might perceive as strangers? How can we, who have collectively been affected by dangerous situations, but who live in relative safety now, be more welcoming to refugees and asylum seekers? Many of our families have been beneficiaries of HIAS, as I said earlier, the oldest resettlement organization in the world, who brought our families from Russia, Germany, Poland, Czechoslovakia, and etc. At the end of 2022, there were 108.4 million forcibly displaced people worldwide. 35.3 million were refugees, 5.4 million were asylum seekers, and the rest, 62.5 million people, were internally displaced in the country where they lived. This is an immense issue that grows in scope and influence each year because of wars, authoritarian rule, and climate change that plague the global society. We know what it's like to be a stranger in a strange land. Our Torah implores us 36 times to treat the stranger in your midst with care and respect, because we know what it is like to be a stranger. It is well known that once settled refugees not only contribute to their new communities economically, but they also play an active role in civic engagement and participation in the labor force. They maintain a strong devotion to education, they purchase homes, and become U.S. citizens. To educate yourself further, I encourage you to visit hias.org to see the work that this organization accomplishes worldwide through education and legislation and advocacy. On this Shabbat, let us work toward a world where difference doesn't mean strangeness, but an opportunity for us to grow and learn from our differences, and that we use our resources and our personal histories to make the lives of others better. Shabbat Shalom. I'd like to call Max back up to help lead us in Aleinu, page 586. Please rise. You can open the ark.
Aleinu Shabbat La'adon HaKol La'tez Gedula Li'aseh Breshit Shelo Asanu Kigoye Haratzot V'lo Samanu Kamishpachot Ha'adama Shelo Sam Chelkenu Kahem V'go Aleinu Kechol Hamonah V'anachnu Korim U'mishtachavim U'modim Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai Lemelech al kol ha'aretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad.
Close the door, please. Please be seated. Thank you, Max. Tonight we have a memorial plaque dedication for Janice and Robert Weaver. In September of 2022, Janice Weaver was laid to rest, and tonight we dedicate a plaque in her memory, as well as her husband, Bob, on the memorial wall in the presence of her nephew, John. Is John here? Thank you. Okay. While I did not know Jan or Bob, many of you did. And the cantor shared the lovely words that she wrote for Jan's funeral just over a year ago. Janice Green was born on January 25th, 1948, to Sue and Ben Green, and was raised here in Toledo along with her younger brother, Terry. Terry remembered her always as having a sense of humor, and the two of them were always able to make each other laugh. She never lost that great sense of humor. She graduated from high school and attended the University of Toledo. In 1982, Jan and Bob were married, and they enjoyed almost 40 years of marriage together. Many say that Bob was Jan's knight in shining armor, and she was so blessed to have found a partner to love and support her in the way that he did. They enjoyed concerts and movies together, attended Toledo Rockets games, and enjoyed cruising on the Caribbean. Although they did not have children of their own, their families were so important to Bob and Jan, and they loved spending quality time with them. As we dedicate this plaque this evening, we remember the dedication with which Jan showed the temple. We can also strive to emulate her humility, honesty, and humor. May Jan and Bob's memory be a blessing as we mark their essences, that their essences will never leave our hearts and souls. We are also remembering others this evening before the Kaddish. We're particularly remembering 4 who have been laid to rest in the most recent 30 days: Mark Meyer, Joseph J. McCaffrey III, Paula Cartman, and Marge Goldstein. We're also remembering those for whom their yahrzeits fall this week. Muriel Applebaum, Michael Behar, Hetty Berenson, Sidney H. Burns, Justin M. Blumberg, Jerome Borenstein, Robert Bramson, Esther Cannon, Irving Chabin, Florence Kronstein, Louis Dolgen, Belle Eddings, Joe Epstein, Ida Rose Erlin, Max Farber, Ida Fischler, Charles K. Friedman, Dr. David Friedman, Lillian Frumkin, Mark Gertner, Herman P. Golden, Leo Goldner, Alexander Gordon, Harold S. Green, Ethel Grossman, Abraham Harper, Adolf Hellman, Lisa Benet Canlin, Sarah Karen, Shirley Kirschner, Edward Kuhn, Moses Lamfrom, Estella Lamfrom, Eugene M. Lempert, Natalie Levy, Marcus Max Lish, Ann P. Lish, John Marshall, Alan Miller, Lillian Miller, Simon Miller, Fred Oken, Sarah Osnowitz, Howard E. Pincus, Susan Powder, Tanya Ratner, Harry Rice, Clara Rona, Anna Edith Seligman, Dr. Joel A. Smith, Grace Stansley, Seal Stein, May Bell Steinfield, and Jacob Urbanski. If there are others that you're remembering that I did not list or mispronounce their name, I would encourage you to share their names now. We rise together as a community for the Mourners Kaddish on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala l'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei omaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kudusha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. You may be seated. Our closing song is on our purple sheets called Sanctuary by the Jewish singer-songwriter Julie Silver.
So stand up and sing. Let your voices ring. Bring what you can bring and be a sanctuary. When one of us is suffering, we all feel pain. When one of us is stumbling, we fall again and again. All of us are slaves until all of us are free. Everyone needs sanctuary. When some of us go hungry, all of us can't eat. When words don't mean enough to us, we pray with our feet. We pray for the dreamers who pray for you and me. We can be their sanctuary. So let us set a table wide and long.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Please join us for Kiddush and Motzi in the hallway.